Good morning. Good to see you all again. This is our daily devotion for Monday, the 12th of October. I've been thinking that, we all have memories. Perhaps some of us have memories of long ago when we can't always remember what we did last week. But I was thinking that when we went to Israel and we went to see all the beautiful sights that the Church of the Annunciation, which commemorated when the angel appeared to Mary to tell her that she was going to give birth to Jesus. And then we visited many other churches, the church where Jesus had done the miracle of the loaves and the fishes, and many other churches commemorating events in the Bible. And I did say to our guide when we were there, how do people know where these exact things happened? And he said, well, what would happen is because it had been such a momentous occasion that people would, as the generations went on, people would say, see that? Well, that's where it was announced to Mary that Jesus was going to be born. And that became then a place that people knew about. And Constantine, the emperor, eventually asked his mother to organise churches to be built in those places. And I'm sure that we all have probably not our own memories, but stories that have been told in our family, and they've been told so often that then they become our memories. For those of us who were brought up in the Methodist Church, one of my memories is when there was the Sunday school anniversary, and we all got new clothes for the Sunday school anniversary, and they put a platform up in the church, and I'm sure that many of you listening to this today will remember those times. And I wrote this poem about a story that my mum told me about something that occurred at one Sunday school anniversary when I was a very small girl. And I thought that I'd read it to you. 'Twas Sunday school anniversary. Preparations were all being made. They started to build a platform. I thought we'd have a big parade. But all there was this platform. It reached right up to the top of our little chapel, I tell you. Rows and rows for the little tots. There'd be the little ones up near the ceiling and the bigger ones nearer the ground. There was lots of practising singing and plenty of poems to go around. We had new clothes for the anniversary, and then we put them away for wit. We didn't have much money then. My dad worked down the pit. My dress was pale blue satin, with a peach petticoat trimmed with lime. It didn't really go with it, but it was all Mum could get at the time. I had new patent shoes, black with a button strap. They were a little big, with room to grow at the back. When the day arrived, I couldn't wait to go. I was only 4 at the time, so I was on the 4th row. It was pretty near the top. It felt really high. But when you're only 4, things look as big as the sky. We began to sing the songs. It was a sight to see. All the kids were singing away. That is, apart from me. I began to swing me dress to the music from side to side, showing my unmatched petticoat that my mother had tried to hide. She was trying to sign to me to put me dress down, but I was having too much fun to worry about her frown. People thought it was funny, which encouraged me even more. And then the song was finished, so my performance was o'er. Then someone began a recitation. I found something better to do. While wriggling round on the platform, I'd managed to get off my shoe. It seemed like a good idea to drop it, to see if it made a noise. It did, but nobody noticed, so I lost some of my poise. "Ma'am, my shoe's gone," I shouted. "It's fallen down to the floor." Then my Sunday school teacher retrieved it and said, "Don't you do that anymore." But of course the game had now started for this little 4-year-old child. I thought if I dropped it again, things would really start to get wild. But when it went the second time, nobody heard the sound. The singing drowned the noise and my shoe was on the ground. Again I shouted, "I want my shoe!" But my shout fell on deaf ears. So then it wasn't funny anymore and I ended up in tears. This caused great disruption, as really you could see. They had to move the boys and girls to get up to me. They brought me down to my mother, who was not amused. Then I wanted to do my recitation, but my mum refused. I know I'd been a nuisance, I really have to say, but they kept me in the Sunday school, and here I am today. Well, I was, because I continued in Sunday school, and I carried on through Sunday school, became a Sunday school teacher. And then I got in with a crowd, not a bad crowd, but a crowd of friends that didn't go to church. And somehow it seemed more fun to go out with them than to keep going to church. And I stayed away quite a long time. And then when I went to Germany, because I took my boys to the Cubs, I then became a Cub leader. And of course, we went to church, to all the parade services. And then when we came back to England, I didn't bother going again for a while. And then one day I was in my house at Wheatley and I heard some music coming along the road. And I looked out of the window and there was a parade of people with music playing and they were all singing. And I wanted to go and see what it was. So I took my dog a walk so that if I weren't interested, I could just pretend I was just taking the dog a walk nearby. But when I got there, there was an open air service on the green near my house. I stood at the periphery of the area and just stood there. But a couple came up to me and offered me a hymn sheet. And so I stayed there and stayed to the service. And after the service, they said, "Do you go to church?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Well, we're from St Andrew's Church. If you'd like to come, we'll wait for you tonight." And I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." And then when I went home, I thought, shouldn't really have said that, but I couldn't let these people down because I knew they'd be waiting for me. So I went back to St Andrew's Church that night. And then the rest is history. I found Jesus as my Lord and Saviour. He became my friend forever. Became my world, really. And I'm so pleased that that couple of people invited me back to church. So that's another lovely memory that all those years ago, those dear Christian people asked me to go back to their church. And I did. And now I'm here telling you this story today. So please, if ever you see anybody who you think may benefit from coming to church, don't feel shy about asking them, because the worst thing they can do is say no. But they might say yes. So I thought, if we all remember that, then we might get more people to come to church. And they may stay like I did. Well, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and give you his peace. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.